Hello. So here I'm going to talk about whiteboards for the GMAT. Now, by this time, we all know that the GMAT can be taken from home. And we also know that the GMAT is allowing the use of a physical whiteboard. But now I've received a call from one of my students who's about to take the GMAT. And he tells me that he's seen some videos on YouTube about how to make your own whiteboard. And that got me a little worried about these do-it-yourself whiteboards, okay? So I want to give my opinion on these whiteboards, these do-it-yourself whiteboards. And also I want to tell you the benefits of getting a real whiteboard. Before getting on with the content, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click on the notification bell. So to start, my opinion on this do-it-yourself whiteboard is a no, never do that, okay? Why would you want to risk it? You're going to face huge risks if you do that. First of all, because these videos I've seen on how to make your own whiteboard, they are breaking a lot of rules. They're giving bad advice, all right? So the GMAT is very restrictive on what they allow as a whiteboard, all right? Just remember, it was very difficult to convince the GMAT to allow a physical whiteboard. So they're not pesky, but they're very concerned about the security. So don't be surprised if you do one of these silly experiments and then you get your exam cancelled. For example, a lot of these do-it-yourself videos are doing these whiteboards with plastered cardboard, okay? And sometimes they have colors, like they're yellow, they're orange, and the GMAT is very specific, saying that they want a white board, something that is totally white, so they don't want any coloration on your whiteboard, okay? And number two, you have to understand something. The GMAT doesn't want any paper or anything you can write permanently on near you, all right? And this is because of security reasons. You have to understand the reasoning behind the GMAT. They are concerned, they are scared, actually they are frightened that somebody might steal their questions, the database, right? That's happened in the past. There are a lot of stories about that. So that's why they didn't allow the use of a physical whiteboard in the first place, and they were very hard to convince, as I've said before. So they don't want any paper. And what's behind a cardboard? More cardboard, not plastered. Unplastered cardboard that you can write something permanently on. So a proctor could justifiably cancel your exam because of that, because on the back of your do-it-yourself whiteboard, you can write things on. Okay, so that's something you shouldn't do. I understand there had been a couple people who have taken the exam with these do-it-yourself whiteboards and they've had no problems. Okay, but they just got lucky because they got proctors who hadn't read the rules. Because if they would have read the rules, they could have canceled their exams, okay? So just be careful with that. You might not get as lucky. Besides, that makes no sense. I mean, just think about it. You are investing a lot of time and money on your preparation. And you're taking the GMAT. You're also paying for the GMAT $200. That's not cheap. And that means you're not poor, okay? So if you're taking the GMAT, you're also trying to get a business school. Business school is not free. It's actually quite expensive. So you're part of a privileged elite. The least thing you want is to get to exam day, open up your laptop, talk to your proctor, and get your exam cancelled with no refund. That's going to be a shock to you. Believe me, that's going to be a psychological shock. Anybody who ever had their exam cancelled suffers a psychological shock. You might not realize it. You might not notice it. That your performance will never be the same, okay? Usually people don't get over it, okay? It's because you were ready for that day. You were prepared for that day. Everything was set for that day. Your whole preparation was aiming at that day. And to get your exam cancelled just because of something so silly as a whiteboard, that's gonna be a shock. Okay. Now, what about buying a real whiteboard? Have you ever thought about it? Right, that's what you should do. Okay, buy a real whiteboard like this one. Real whiteboards like this one, they cost $50 or less, so they're not expensive. Okay, compared to all the other investment you've made on your preparation. So actually there are a couple of good benefits of having a real whiteboard. The first one is something I want to talk about though, is the size. First of all, let me talk about the size of a whiteboard. Here I bought a whiteboard which is the max size, 12 by 20 inches. Actually, I understand though that this might not be the right size for you, okay? The size of the whiteboard you buy is going to depend on two different things. First of all, how big you are, your own size. If you are a small person, then you want to go with something smaller because you want to be able to handle easily the whiteboard. You're going to be lifting it, you're going to be turning it over, you're going to be doing this with the whiteboard, dropping it, okay, whatever. But you have to be big enough to be comfortable at handling the whiteboard. And number two, that's also going to depend on the surface area of the desk you're going to be taking the exam on. If it's a small desk and you have a big whiteboard, then you are not going to find enough support for the whiteboard and you're going to be writing off balance, and you don't want that, of course, right? So the size of the whiteboard is going to depend on the size of the desk also. Having said that, there are two huge benefits of a real whiteboard over a cardboard do-it-yourself whiteboard. First of all, it's much easier to erase it and clean it, okay? So you're not gonna be fighting and wasting time to get all that ink off. And number two, most of these real whiteboards, they come with a wooden or plastic frame. So they have a body, they have some heft. You want something that is sturdy, all right? You wanna lift it with one hand and be able to write with the other one. So in the case of a cardboard, do-it-yourself whiteboard, they don't have any body, they're gonna be folding, and that's gonna be really messy, okay? So just get a real whiteboard. Don't risk your exam. So this being my advice, I've also posted a video on how to take notes on a whiteboard, on an actual whiteboard, because I understand that it could be tricky at first, all right? There's a small learning curve. So, but once you get used to it, it's really cool. I mean, the whiteboard is a good substitute for paper, okay? But you have to get used to it, you have to practice a lot. So for those of you who want to learn how to take notes, just watch my video. So this being my advice, thank you for watching and see you